Good afternoon, everyone. Have you ever wondered where the first antibiotic came from, or who we should thank for saving millions of lives through modern medicine? And did antibiotics come out through careful planning, or did they just come out through plain luck or with an accident? Today, I'll answer all those questions for you and a little bit more. Because the story of antibiotics, and specifically penicillin, starts with one singular man, Alexander Fleming. His discovery not only changed science, but also saved hundreds of millions of lives and changed the course of the world. But before we start, let me tell you why I chose this topic. I have done research on medicines before, and I've always been fascinated by how this medicine was discovered. How, with access to public records and a good understanding of its history, I can give you a good rundown of this story with you. Here's what we'll cover today. First, we'll look at how Fleming discovered penicillin, which was an accident. Then we'll explore how penicillin was purified by something doctors could actually use, or purified into something doctors could actually use. And finally, we'll see how it was mass-produced and became a cornerstone of modern medicine. Let's start with Fleming himself. In 1928, Alexander Fleming was working in his lab. Studying Staphylococcus bacteria, he went on vacation, and when he came back, he noticed something strange. A mold had accidentally grown on one of his petri dishes, but what he noticed was that it was actually containing the mold, and the mold had actually been destroyed. Most scientists would have simply thrown away the dish, but he didn't. He looked closer and realized the mold was actually releasing a substance that killed bacteria. That mold was Penicillin notatum, and the substance, it became known as penicillin. Or it was Penicillium notatum, became known as penicillin, the world's first true antibiotic. Penicillin works by weakening the bacterial cell walls. It disrupts the synthesis of peptidoglycan, which helps maintain the cell wall's strength. Without it, the bacteria cells basically just burst open and die. During World War II, penicillin was used to treat infected wounds and illness in soldiers. It reduced the death rate from infections by an estimated 15% in World War II. And since then, it's saved over 500 million lives. That's the estimated number, at least. While Fleming is credited as the discoverer, developing penicillin into usable medicine was far from doable for a singular person. Turning penicillin into a usable drug required the work of three other key figures: Howard Florey, Ernst Chain, and Norman Healy. These scientists worked tirelessly to purify penicillin. Their early method involved freeze-drying the mold, which produced what they called penicillin juice. Healy later improved the process by adjusting the pH level, making the penicillin more effective and easier to extract. They also used solvent extraction and worked in cold temperatures to preserve the compound by August 1940. They had successfully purified penicillin and tested it on mice, and later humans. The results were nothing short of groundbreaking. But there was still one major problem. How do you make enough of it, and how do you get it out to the people who need it? The answer was a process called deep tank fermentation. Instead of growing penicillin mold on surfaces like petri dishes, scientists began using it in large vats filled with a liquid nutrient broth. By controlling the temperature, pH, and oxygen levels, they were able to grow massive amounts of the mold and extract the antibiotic efficiently. The innovation allowed penicillin to be mass-produced during World War II, saving the lives of countless soldiers and civilians alike. Today, penicillin remains one of the most widely used antibiotics, and again, it all started with a singular forgotten petri dish and someone with a curious mind. So, let's quickly go back over what we've covered. We looked at how Alexander Fleming discovered penicillin, again, as an accident. We explored how Florey, Chain, and Healy purified it into a usable drug, and we saw how it was mass-produced, changing the world of medicine forever. So the next time you take antibiotics, remember, the one who started it all was Alexander Fleming. Without him, and a team that brought penicillin to life, modern medicine might look very, very different. Thank you for your time.